So let's talk about creativity and how to find new inspiration when you're in a creative block and everything feels just bad. You feel unmotivated, you feel bored, you feel like you have no good ideas, no new ideas feel like they are worth anything. We all are in this mode or state of mind now and then, and I have over time developed a few techniques, tricks and tips on how to get out of this state when you're in it, and also how to avoid falling into it. And these are 10 things that work for me, most of the time, not always, and they might work for you as well, but you have to try to see. There is no science behind this, or I cannot guarantee at least that these are scientific things. They just tend to work for me, I believe. So without further ado, let's dive into my best tips to avoid creative block and to find new inspiration. Tip number 1, which is also I think my most important one, and that is workouts. Since I started working out regularly, which in my case usually means I go out to run, I felt a lot more inspired, productive, creative, and happy about life in general. And now I've been running regularly for like 5 years, and maybe even more than that. And I could never imagine a life where I didn't do regular workouts. You get these endorphins and your whole body feels different and you lose stress and you get lots of new ideas when you're out running or working out in whatever way you're working out. There is a certain kind of magic to it, and if you're not doing this already, I really encourage you to try it. I mean, there are obviously also health benefits as well, but I do it mostly actually for productivity and to get into a happy and good state of mind. And when I'm out running, I get so many new ideas. Like many of my YouTube videos, I get the ideas for them when I'm out running. So yeah, just try it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to run. You can also go swimming or play tennis or play football or whatever you feel like doing. But I think the important thing is that you get sweaty and you get to huff and puff a bit, and if you do that like 2 or 3 times a week, I think that works wonders. Try it. My next tip is to add an uncomfortable constraint in your work. If you're a photographer and maybe you're usually shooting in color, try shooting in black and white for a day. Force yourself to try this, and you might not like the idea of it, and that is how you know it's a good constraint to try. Because when you get yourself out of your comfort zone and force yourself to try something new, you force yourself into creativity. You activate the creative department in your brain, and that tends to give you new inspiration, new ideas, and that tends to stop any creative block you're in. And black and white is just one example of something you could try. It could also be something as simple as shooting in JPEGs when you're normally shooting in RAW, or maybe force yourself to shoot at a certain shutter speed or a certain aperture for a whole day and just see how that works out. It could also be shooting with your phone. Like, just try to find some way to constrain yourself and see how that works out. My next tip is coffee. I don't know, but for me, coffee is such a great thing. Caffeine kind of jumpstarts my brain, and for example, I couldn't do my YouTube videos without drinking some coffee before. I don't know what it is, but to me, coffee triggers creativity and puts my brain into a state where I have more ideas and I feel more productive, and I feel like, and in general, I just feel more creative and productive. And I know a lot of people don't like coffee, and I mean, then just skip this tip. But it could be something worth trying if you haven't tried it yet. For me, it works really great. Coffee and sometimes tea. My next tip is to get really, really bored. And one way to do this, for example, is to just Put a timer on 15 minutes and decide to just sit still with your eyes closed for 15 minutes and try to not think of anything. And this is kind of meditation, but not really, but it will get you very bored if you're not used to doing this. And towards the end of these 15 minutes, if you can get yourself through them, you tend to get lots and lots of ideas. And at least for me, I mean, I start feeling inspired to try things and to do projects or whatever. And actually, at one point in my life, a few years ago, I went to this Vipassana camp where you do meditation for like 11 hours a day for 10 days straight. And you're not allowed to use the internet or have any radios or books or anything. You just meditate all day long, and you're not allowed to talk to anyone or basically do anything else than meditating for 10 days straight. And I can tell you that I haven't felt more inspired and motivated to do creative projects than towards the end of these 10 days of Vipassana meditation. So getting bored is a really great thing to trigger inspiration and creativity, I would say. My next tip is to try new equipment. If you're using a certain camera or a certain lens, try another camera or another lens. And this is something I do a lot, maybe too much. I mean, I have my whole cabinet here with like lots and lots of cameras and lenses, and I tend to buy and sell lenses and cameras all the time just to rotate my gear. And for me, it always triggers more inspiration and creativity when I'm out with a new camera or a new lens. So for me, this works really great, and I couldn't imagine always using the same camera and the same lens when I'm doing photography. To me, it triggers my creativity when I try new gear. It makes everything more fun. So that could be something to look into. I mean, you could also, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend too much money. What I do is I buy mostly used equipment. I use them for a few months, and then when I get bored with a lens, for example, I just sell it, and usually I can sell it for the same price that I bought it for, so I didn't really lose any money, and then I can reuse that money to buy something else instead. So try it. Try new gear and see what happens with your creativity and inspiration. And as I've been alluding to in most of the tips already, is to change something in your daily routine. I think it can be a great trigger of new creativity and inspiration. And it could be something as simple as if you're doing a certain walk, when you're out walking, you go a certain route, or maybe when you're out running, you have a certain run that you do, just change it. Go run somewhere else, go walk somewhere where you haven't walked before. This may sound almost stupid, like how could that trigger new creativity, but try it. Try to change something in your daily routine, just something as simple as taking a different route when you're walking to work, and see what happens. Not to mention travel. I mean, it might be hard in these times, but traveling to new places and meeting new people, talking to people you haven't talked to before, to me that very often triggers new ideas and inspiration and creativity for my photography. So just change something, change whatever it is, and see what happens. Another thing that might be obvious but still might not for some people is to eat well. I don't eat perfectly, but there were times when I almost always just ate junk food and never any healthy food at all. And it gets you tired and not that creative. Since I started eating more healthy food, I have actually seen a change in my energy and inspiration and motivation to do things. I would recommend you to just try eating more healthy food, like plant-based food and maybe even vegetarian food in general. To me, it does something. It does something to my creativity and my inspiration and motivation to eat more healthy. And yeah, I mean, it's good for health as well, obviously, but it can also do wonders for your creativity and inspiration. Try it. Another thing that might seem obvious is get enough sleep. Very often when I'm about to do something creative, maybe make a new YouTube video or go out on a photo walk, and I feel completely unmotivated, and very often I cannot figure out why, but then the reason is very often that I didn't get enough sleep during the night. And then maybe I take a nap, it could be as little as 20 minutes, and when I wake up I feel a completely different way. I feel new energy and new inspiration and new motivation. And yeah, in general, just make sure to get enough sleep. This is really important for your inspiration and creativity. Make sure you get enough sleep, and I mean, everyone is different, everyone has a different need for sleep, but make sure you get enough. That is important. Another tip that might be a bit hard during this COVID-19 times is to go to photography meetups. I don't have that much time anymore now when I'm a dad, but earlier I used to go into this website meetup.com, and they have meetups for all kinds of interests. But for photography, there usually are a few meetups in every major city, and it's a great way to find new inspiration and to be with other people who are like-minded and interested in photography. You always get new ideas, and I would say it's impossible to go to a photography meetup with new people and not get inspired to do more photography. And if you're not able to at the moment, try it whenever you're able to again. I guess we will get out of this at some point. And then I can really recommend it to go to a photography meetup and meet new people who are interested in photography. It's great for your creativity and your inspiration. And my last tip. When nothing else works, you have to trust that your inspiration and motivation will come back at some point. To me, inspiration and creativity, it kind of goes in a wave like this. And you just have to trust that when you're at the bottom, there will be a point where you reach the top again, and you just have to kind of wait for it. And when you have this understanding that it goes in waves, you also get better at actually using your inspiration and creativity when it is there. Some days you just feel very inspired and motivated to do photography or whatever you're doing, and then you need to really use the inspiration when you have it. If I have a day where I feel really inspired, I make sure to really use that creative energy when I have it, because I know that in one day or a few hours even, it might be gone, and then I have to wait until I find it again. But if I use it when I have it, I can make great things. So that is something to also keep in mind. It goes in waves, and when you're at the bottom, we will soon be at the top again, and when you're there, use it. Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. Just my 10 best tips on how to stop creative block and find new inspiration. I hope you found some tip that might be worth trying for you. Please tell me your best tips in the comments below. I am really eager to hear about them and to try them myself. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. See you soon again. Bye.